Welcome back to Man from the Mist. As you can see, this is now to do with tractors, but I am blaming Marshall Smart for this. As you know, a couple of weeks ago we went up to visit Marshall up in Scotland, took my caravan. During the visit, the caravan tap out of the galley started leaking, and it started leaking out of the cap here. Just a little bit, enough to wet the countertop, and I thought it was coming out of this portion of the tap, but then saw it actually dripping from the top and running down the side. So in this video we're going to show you how to save yourself £125 by repairing this as opposed to replacing it. It's a very easy fix. You don't need to even take the tap out of the caravan. I have for simplicity, but you don't need to take this out of the caravan to do this job. Got two hose tails with quick releases on. You simply push the collar, pop your pipes in when you put it back in. I'll put a quick little video in here for you to show you this tap in situ in the caravan. Now the only thing that keeps it in the countertop is that bolt with a nut on and a plate that goes underneath with a rubber seal that sits in between the counter and the tap. I'm going to cut this when I put it back in because it's too long, and it was a bit of a nightmare to get the bolt off. Although it's just one nut, it's a bit of a nightmare to get it off with the hoses in place, so I took the hoses off. Okay, so we'll unscrew that. The hose tails just screw in. They're on an O-ring, and there's a hex there that if they are a bit tight, you can get a hold of the hex with a spanner. Once you've removed that, it's nearly impossible to get a hold of them in situ with the retaining stud in place. Right, this is what they call a lever mixing tap, because it's got a lever and it rotates. Okay, and the nozzle rotates in order to accommodate storage in the caravan. So there's two different types of taps. One has the retaining screw behind the lever inside the cap. The other ones have a little pop out button on the back of here that you lever out and you can access the screw through that way. So for this one, my screw's hidden in here, so take the little lever out, 2.5mm Allen key. You only need an Allen key and an adjustable, and this can be done in situ in the caravan, as I say, without having to remove the tap. Pop your Allen key in, loosen the cap, remove the cap. Now, this little bezel's plastic, and it is purely simply decoration so that Daddy Blackbird's gone a daft there, so that when this is in and it rocks, you don't see the internal workings of the tap. That's all it is. But be careful, it is just plastic. Now, adjustable spanner. Again, this nut is plastic, so you don't have to heave ho on it. Unscrew the retaining nut, pop out the cartridge. This is what's leaking, not this. Okay, and it's one of these three seals here. We might pop this to bits in a minute. Water comes in. What we've got here, Allen key, uses a pointy stick here. Water comes in through these two holes here, comes out through this hole into the tap body, and it does that by, when you lift the lever, it pulls that back inside here is two ceramic discs that slide across the top of each other, and on the bottom of this plate, as we'll see in a minute, is an O-ring that stops water coming from the bottom half of this cartridge up through the top and out here. So when this is leaking, it could be one of these have failed, or indeed the O-ring on the other end of this has failed and allowing water to come out that way. Either way, it doesn't matter. As I say, we'll pop that to bits in a minute and have a look at it, because it's going to get replaced anyway, isn't it? When you're looking for replacements for these, there are two different size diameter cartridges, and there is a difference in ranges of sizes of diameters and lengths on these barrels, and there are different shaped levers. However, I've got my replacement from eBay. If you go on eBay, they have very kindly, the sellers of these, have put on a range of drawings with the various measurements that you need to check in order to make sure you got the right one. This is a 35mm diameter here, and as I say, you look, that's, I think that is 9mm, that's 9mm square, 47mm long. But you just measure them, and you have to measure as well the size and centers of those two pins there. It's important because those two pins locate into those two holes in the bottom of there, and it stops the cartridge rotating as you turn the top of the tap. Okay, so just throw it away. Replacement. As I say, go on eBay. There is a multitude of drawings, so you can check your sizes to make sure that you've got the right one. This cartridge, I think, if I remember right, was something like £6.80 for a cartridge. This tap in our local caravan shop is £150. No wonder they want to sell you the tap. You can't get these from your caravan shops. Don't stock them, but they will sell you these. So you take your cartridge, find your two holes in the bottom, put your two pins in there, give it a bit of a turn, and you'll feel it seat, and also you'll feel that as opposed to that one's springy because it's sitting on new seals here against the bottom. So cartridge in, retaining nut in. As I say, this is plastic. It doesn't need to be severely tightened. What it needs to be is nipped till it secures those seals flat against the steel face at the bottom of that valve. Now a little decorative cap goes on. Just down far enough. Now we need to find out which way that rocks. So that's off, upright's off, back is on. So in my case, the lever comes to me because I lift the lever to switch the tap on. So we'll just pop that. On there. Two and a half mil Allen key. Now we'll put our little lever back in. And we'll tighten that up. Now that must have been slack on my caravan because that's actually the wrong way. It's got cold on my left, red, hot on my right. And in actual fact, in the UK at least anyway, always your hot pipes are on your left, your cold pipes are on your right. And that's so visually impaired people, when they go to a tap on a sink, instinctively know the right hand is the cool tap, left hand is the hot tap, so they don't get scattered. Right, now let's put my hot pipe then back into here. And because these have got O-rings in, you just simply screw them in. Again, they don't need to be enormously tight. Give these a little nip. And it is just a little nip. That'll do it. Don't need to be anything else. Okay. That will put our retaining screw back in so we don't lose it. As I say, I'm going to chop this so that I can get a long socket over when I'm putting it back into the caravan, winch it up tight onto there. This seal as well, you can see it's a bit chewed and it's just a flat rubber seal. So I am going to try put that in some warm water and relieve it. If I can it, because it's actually creased there. If I can't, I'll see if I can get a big O-ring, put a big O-ring in there. That's just to stop water, any water that's on the countertop seeping down into the opening where the tap actually sits in. So that will pop that on that way so we don't lose anything. That's it. Simple, isn't it? Right. Let's take this to bits. See what we're going to save this bit, eh? We'll have our glasses on for this one. Now, as I say, I haven't seen a seal repair kit for these. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, on the end of there, they have like a labyrinth type. There's three ridges. So there's a labyrinth type seal on both ends of that, because it goes in against the inset of this plastic face and seals in there. And then you've got the ceramic disc behind it. To open this up, there's a clip here and there's a clip here. So for those of you who want to try and repair this, if you wanted to, you can. So you've got a ceramic disc there. And those two, they are that flat, they actually ring together like gauge blocks do, like workshop gauge blocks. So the water enters through these two ports. I forgot that, yes. The water enters through these two ports, runs through this port and comes back out this port. That's as far as your water goes up the body of your tap. It shouldn't be obviously reaching up the top. If it is reaching up the top, then it's potentially this O-ring here that's failed. So let's pop this out of here. You can see in there, there's an O-ring in there. Now, I would imagine if you really wanted to, you could, you know what I mean? Get a round O-ring, pop it in there if it was that one that was leaking. But I haven't seen anything of those ones. I thought you might have been able to get an O-ring kit like that, But realistically, O-ring kit will probably cost you £5 anyway. The new cartridge was only £6, free postage, even though it did take several days to get here. But yeah, those little ceramic discs are that flat, they ring together, so they form a perfect seal when the valve's in there without any aid from rubber. Okay, so I hope that video has been useful to you. As I say, remember, you do not need to remove your tap from your caravan or your sink or your shower or whatever. You simply find the releasing screw. It's either behind the lever or it's the opposite side behind a little cap. Pop it out, release that, unscrew your the cosmetic plastic cover. Use your adjustable to unscrew your retaining nut. Pop your cartridge out. Do all your measurements. As I say, I will put a screenshot of the type of drones that is available on eBay to help you measure these and make sure that you're buying the correct replacement. Right guys, what I'm going to do now, nip back the caravan, put that back in, test it. I've got no worries that it will leak, but we'll test it anyway before we go away next time in my caravan. So, if this has been useful to you and you've saved £125 by buying a cartridge instead of a tap, give us a thumbs up.
They're too dry for you. Daddy, are you coming down to feed it? Hi, Daddy.
Right guys, that's it for this one. Quick one, just to show you how to save yourself 125, 135 quid by buying a cartridge instead of buying a tap. As always, your time is greatly appreciated when you come visiting us and see what we're doing, tinker around with little bits and pieces. If it's been useful, please give us a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, follow us on Facebook. We've got a new Facebook page. And remember, don't overthink it. It's only nuts and bolts. Catch you in the next one. Ta-da now.